Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday, our Tech Tuesday. And I started last week with a new, obviously I started the year last week, and I started with a new topic, and that is that energy cycle of our body called the metabolism. And we all talk about metabolism, and we know that if you are aerodynamic, I don't like the word skinny, but if you're aerodynamic, you're generally considered to have a fast metabolism. And I've always said that myself, that I don't put on weight easily because I've got a fast metabolism. And we learned last week, and I learned during the prep, that that's not actually the case. Metabolism covers so many other things as well. And interestingly enough, or ironically enough, overweight people often have a much faster metabolism because they need to burn off a lot more energy. So athletes have a very fast metabolism. People who are sedentary don't have a fast metabolism. So we got going a little bit with that. So let me share my screen. There we go. Let's see where all my research is over here. Okay. Shrink down here. Okay. So we started, and oops. Sorry, my screen share decided to quit on me over there. My apologies. Just bombed out on me. We'll see what I'm doing over here. So we can open this. Okay. Sorry, I'm just going to bomb out of here for a second. Okay, let me try that one again. Where my PowerPoint died on me. And okay. So we were talking about new year, new you, and how to kickstart your metabolism. And we went through all the basics last week. And I stopped off with this slide over here, which is just a suggestion. One of the ways to control your metabolism is to stand up more, because we found that in today's society, people spend a lot of time sitting, whether you are desk bound because of the type of work that you're doing, or people spend a lot of time commuting. So they're sitting in a vehicle, or they're flying. You've got these jet setters, frequent flyers, who spend huge amounts of hours in the air sitting. And then they go to meetings and they spend their time sitting. And that's why they tend to expand. So one of the things you need to do is to stand up. So sitting too much can have negative effects on your health, partly because long periods of sitting burn fewer calories and can lead to weight gain. One 2018 review found that standing or stepping at work was associated with lower cardiometabolic risk, or CMR scores, lower body fat, smaller waist circumference, lower systolic and diastolic blood pressure, fasting triglycerides, total HDL cholesterol, and insulin. Stepping rather than standing resulted in greater improvements to lower systolic blood pressure and insulin resistance. Now, I'm fortunate in my job in that I don't get to sit all day. I don't get to stand all day. I get to move. And I feel that that helps me tremendously because I'm continuously on the go. If I'm not running up and down to the hospital, I do spend a bit of time sitting with the patient, but then I'm up and down, checking out their feet. So on my knees, I'm standing up, I'm moving around, I'm demonstrating. So I am very fortunate. Others, like nurses who spend 12 hours plus standing, or they do a bit of walking. Yeah, they walk up and down the wards, but the majority of their time is spent standing still. Teachers are another one. Jenny, you'd probably be able to back me up on this one. You spend a huge amount of time, many hours, standing at the board. No longer a chalkboard, but at the board. Yes, you move a small section of space, maybe up and down the first few rows of desks. I've been at school for a while, so I can't really tell you, but they spend a lot of time standing. Think about people in the grocery store, your cashiers, even at the banks. There again, cashiers. They spend a lot of time either standing or sitting on a stool. This is not good. So you need to keep moving, because while you're moving, you're burning energy. Think about what your legs feel like if you do a lot of walking. You're tired and heavy. But if you're standing still, you probably notice, especially in summer, that your ankles and your legs swell up. And I get a lot of people that come through me because of swollen ankles. And quite often it's because of that excessive standing. If you have a desk job, try standing up and walking for short periods to break up the length of time you spend sitting down. So if you are not drinking a lot of water, which you should be, set a timer on your computer or on your phone that every 30 to 40 minutes you stand up, you stretch, you move around, you creak your back, you walk, go for a jog around your desk. If you are able to drink sufficient water, every 30 to 40 minutes, you'll get up and go for a walk down the passage. So you'll be forced to, because your bladder will tell you that you need to go. But don't sit for extended periods of time. You can also try going for walks during the day, or invest in a standing desk. So if you're fortunate enough to have a lunch break, don't sit down, go for a walk. You can have meals on wheels, okay, meals on your feet, but anyway, go for a walk, get outside, get some fresh air, stretch your legs. All depends where you are, of course, but most places, there should be somewhere for you to go outside and walk around. And if not, invest in a standing desk. These have become quite popular items from what I can understand. And as you can see in this picture, they've actually got a static staircase. I know some people put a treadmill under their standing desk, but whatever you do, get moving. In a 2020 study, researchers found that doing this resulted in reduced blood insulin and sugar. So you can see the benefits over there. Now, the other thing you need to do is you need to drink green tea or oolong tea. Green tea and oolong tea help convert some of the fats stored in your body into free fatty acids, which may indirectly increase fat burning when combined with exercise. Because it's no good just burning the fat. You want to get rid of it as well. And as long as things are flowing, this is good. It's like cholesterol. As long as cholesterol is in the blood and it's moving, it's quite fine. It's when it stands still. Think about a hinge. It gets wet and doesn't move. What happens? Especially here at the coast, it rusts. As long as that hinge is moving, it doesn't rust. So same with us. If we're moving, we're not going to rust. We're not going to have fat oxidizing. But if we stay still, that rust sets in, or the oxidization sets in. Now with the tea, it's thought that it may indirectly help prevent a weight loss plateau due to the way the teas affect your gut microbiome. We've spoken about the gut before, and this helps improve both the way your body breaks down fats for energy and the way it converts excess energy into fat for later use. Because remember, fat is potential energy. Just like with your car, if you're driving your car and you have to keep on using a teaspoon to put petrol in the carburetor, your journey is going to be very long. So what do? You fill up the petrol tank with fuel. If your car is standing still, It's not using any fuel. Now, in our case, we're sitting still, we're not using any fuel, namely fat. The difference is with your car, if you don't use your car for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, it's not going to put on weight. You might lose weight because some of that petrol is going to evaporate, but it's not going to be burning any fuel. Same with us. If we sit still for a longer period of time, we're not going to be burning that excess fat, which is our potential energy. It only becomes energy when you start to move. And that's when that fat gets turned into the energy that your body needs to get moving. Some older research suggests that these teas do not affect metabolism. So research is ongoing continuously. And in most cases, scientists will look for, before they start a research project or an experiment, they decide what their goal is going to be. And then the goal is to actually prove that answer correct or incorrect. So they've got an idea, they've got a supposition that if you do X plus Y equals Z, now they've got to do the research to prove that X plus Y equals Z and it doesn't equal XY. So that's how these research things work. And if you do an experiment one way, you're going to get one result. If you do it another way, you're going to get another result. Good scientific research means that you can do similar experiments in different ways. The end result should always be the same. Then you know this is where your randomized anonymous studies come in. So they do a whole lot of things randomized, so the researchers don't know who's doing what or who's using what. And when they see the results at the end, they can then confirm that X plus Y equals Z. Therefore, their effect may be small or only apply to some people. Again, not everything works the same for everybody. We are all unique. Therefore, what works for you might not work for me, and vice versa. Now you need to also eat spicy foods. I know some people get very excited about this. I don't do spicy. I don't even add salt to my food. Very rarely, in fact. So for those people who are wanting to lose a lot of weight, maybe you need to start eating Indian style or Mexican style. Because peppers contain capsicum, which is a compound that can boost your metabolism. However, many people can't tolerate these spices at the doses required to have a significant effect. As I've said before, toxicologists will tell you the dose or the poison is in the dose. And similarly, you can say with your spice, the effect is in the dose. If you have a lot of spice, you're going to have a better effect because you're going to be burning off a lot of excess energy. If anybody's ever had a very hot, as in very spicy chili or spicy curry, have a look at that person afterwards. And you see large beads of sweat forming on their brows, and they start sweating profusely. That is their metabolism working. For instance, one 2016 review evaluated the effects of capsicum at acceptable doses. And it predicted that eating peppers would burn around 10 additional calories per meal. Now, the sad part is these things are not always used the way that they should be used. And there's a lot of starches that often go with the meals as well. So the spice is good. It's how it's prepared that isn't always good. Over 6.5 years of burning these extra 10 additional calories per meal, this could account for a half kilo of weight loss for an average weight male. But I'm not too sure if you only want to lose half a kilo over 6.5 years. Maybe you want to lose it a lot quicker than that. So alone, the effects of adding spices to your food may be quite small. All depends on how much and how often. However, it may lead to a slight advantage when combined with other metabolism boosting strategies. Like with most things, a single thing on its own probably isn't going to do the trick. It takes a combination of a lot of things to be able to get your end result. Now, the other thing is to get a good night's sleep. So anybody who says, oh, weight loss can be expensive, how much does sleeping cost? Lack of sleep, let me get this out of the way over here. Lack of sleep is linked to a major increase in the chance of obesity. Who would have thought? And just as an aside note on here, and I'll go into this at another stage, but often your things like laundry powders will also lead to weight gain. Muting over here. Okay. So there's a lot of things that can contribute towards your weight gain as well as your weight loss. Lack of sleep has also been shown to affect levels of ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone, and leptin, which is the hormone that controls fullness or that feeling of satiety or feeling full. So when your tummy growls, that is your ghrelin that's making itself known. Not quite sure where the terminology came from, but it's not the gremlins, but it's the ghrelin in your stomach that is the hunger hormone that makes you, this is probably what causes you to have those midnight hunger urges. If you're not sleeping well, you've been tossing and turning, you want to get up and go and raid the fridge at midnight. If you're sleeping well, you won't know when midnight comes. Now, this could also explain why many people who are sleep deprived often feel hungry and may have difficulty losing weight or may gain weight. Think about people who have to work shifts. And again, I'm in the medical industry or medical field, and I feel desperately sorry for the nursing staff because I know in my local hospitals, they have a 3-month cycle. And that 3-month cycle is 3 months of day duty, followed by 3 months of night duty. Day duty consists of 2 to 3 days on and 2 to 3 days off. Night duty consists of 7 days on, 7 days off. Now, what happens is that sometimes the sessional workers will work a day shift. 2 days later, they'll work a night shift and another night shift, and they'll work a couple of day shifts. And their bodies get so confused that they don't know where they are. So therefore, their sleep cycle is very bad and very confused. And this leads to all sorts of problems. I've seen it happen. And think of other shift workers, our police force, our security guys, ambulance crews, fire department, all your emergency workers often have very bad sleep cycles because of the nature of their work. Even myself, I'm fortunate in that I do get to have a good sleep pretty much every night. But there comes times when I can be sound asleep and I get a call out at 11, 12 o'clock at night. My sleep cycle is deprived or is knocked out of sync. For the next couple of days, I have a problem. Fortunately, I don't always have an issue with binge eating, but it knocks you for a six in a lot of other ways. In a 2019 study, researchers also found that a lack of sleep for 4 nights or longer may slightly decrease how the body metabolizes fat. Now, people who are chronically stressed often don't sleep well either. And what happens to chronically stressed people? They don't eat well. They turn to things like alcohol. They turn to things like smoking. and they put on weight, and it becomes a whole big vicious cycle. That said, this increase is small and easily restored by one good night's sleep. So a week's worth of bad sleep can knock your whole cycle out of sync. But learning to sleep correctly or training yourself, taking things to help you sleep correctly will get you back into sync again, get you back into balance again. Now, this is the next fun thing. If you've had a good night's sleep, how do you wake up? You drink coffee. Don't let Charlie hear this part, because he might disagree. Research has shown that caffeine can trigger the body to release neurotransmitters like epinephrine, which helps regulate the way your body processes fat, very much like exercise does. However, this effect may vary based on several factors. For instance, one study found that caffeine was more effective at increasing fat burning during exercise in individuals with a less active lifestyle in comparison with trained athletes. So if you're spending all day behind a computer, that cup of coffee and then in the gym might be a good thing. If you are an Olympic class athlete, a cup of coffee might not be such a good thing. So what other factors affect metabolism or your metabolic rate? Many factors can affect how your metabolism functions, and these include things like muscle mass. It takes more energy or calories to build and maintain muscle than fat. People with more muscle mass often have faster metabolisms that burn more calories. And this is why you do tend to, let me rephrase that. This is what frustrates people, because if they're wanting to lose weight and they're going to the gym and they stand on the scale, they quite often find that they haven't actually lost weight. Because what they've been doing is they've been converting that fat into muscle. And muscle is heavier than fat. So while the needle on the scale doesn't move much, they need to measure, because the tape measure will show a much quicker and better result of your weight loss than a scale will. Age is another thing. You lose muscle as you get older, which slows down the metabolism. Nothing there to burn. Sex. Males tend to have faster metabolisms than females. They have more muscle mass, larger bones, and less body fat. Genes. Unfortunately, you can't change that. The genes you inherit from your parents play a role in your muscle size and ability to build muscle mass. I am very grateful to my parents for the good genes that they passed on. Physical activity. Walking, chasing after your kids, playing tennis, and other forms of exercise cause your body to burn more calories than being sedentary. Smoking. Nicotine speeds up your metabolism, so you burn more calories. This is one reason people who quit smoking may put on weight. But the health consequences of smoking, things like cancer, high blood pressure, coronary artery disease, far outweigh any benefit you might get from burning a few extra calories. So this is often the excuse that people use when they say they can't quit smoking because then they put on weight. They are correct. However, they need to weigh up the pros and cons, because being overweight is bad for your health. Smoking is bad for your health. You need to choose your hard, and you need to decide why your health is worth working towards: losing weight, smoking, or quitting smoking, etc. So how can I have a healthy metabolism? I'm just going to start on this one. These steps may benefit your metabolism. Don't skip meals. Your metabolism quickly adapts and starts using fewer calories for body functions. If you restrict calories too much, your body starts to break down muscle for energy. A loss of muscle mass slows the metabolism. So if you're skipping meals, your body has a tendency to think that there's a famine and it's not quite sure when the next meal is going to come. So what does it do? It holds on to the excess potential energy just in case it's not going to get another meal. But if you're eating a regular cycle and you might only have one meal a day, that's okay as long as it's regular. Don't have 4 meals today and skip all meals tomorrow and have 2 the following day. Whatever you do, stay consistent. You need to fuel your metabolism with fresh fruits and vegetables, lean protein, and healthy carbohydrates and fats. You need to strength train or do other weight resistance type exercises to build muscles. Don't push a shopping trolley, carry the bags. Quit smoking. Your metabolism may slow down a bit, but you'll lower your risk of cancer, heart disease, and other problems. So seriously, think about it. And I'm going to stop right there so I can get into this next week. We've still got about 7 minutes left. Does anybody have any comments or questions before I stop the recording?
Sean, I was just wondering, the spicy food, won't that upset your digestion system?
It can do, especially if you're not used to it. Now, some people have spent their life eating spicy foods. If I have a very spicy meal now, my tummy would not be very happy with me because I don't eat spice. I don't enjoy it. It's just me. I'm the odd one out in the family because the rest of the family have always enjoyed their curries and spicy foods, and I, for some reason or other, don't. But if I had to have spicy, then yes, it will upset your stomach. So if you are used to it, you've got to build up. And I've seen some other nationalities. They'll have chicken, for instance. We won't mention names, but you have a certain national brand, international brand that does grilled chicken, and you get your lemon and herb going through to very hot. And certain nationalities really enjoy that very hot. Most people will go mild to lower end of hot. I go the lemon and herb. So it really depends on how much you're eating and how acclimatized your body is to eating that spice as to how much it's going to affect your stomach.
Okay, and I also heard a session one day, a video, while they were talking on that, and that spicy hot food also affect your pancreas. A lot of the other cultures, they get pancreas cancer
Correct.
because of the hot food.
I don't think it's always the hot food. I think it's the way it's prepared plays a big role as well, because they often use a lot of oil, and then it goes with a
Yes,
lot
you can.
of very starchy rice as well. And it's those combinations that cause the other problems, especially with gallbladder as well. I see a lot of gallbladder operations happening. And if you go back, you see that they often have very oily or spicy foods together with a lot of starch.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,